Well, I'm delighted to welcome Mark Davies, the new Chief Executive of the Scarlets. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Why this job at this time, I suppose, is a burning question.
Well, I suppose that's a good question. Why this job at this time is because the opportunity arose. So it's always been my intention to come back to Wales at some point in my career. Hopefully to find something that gives me an opportunity to give something back and to use some of the skills that I've learned. I didn't actually expect an opportunity of this size to come along when it did, but as it has, then obviously I was going to grasp it with both hands.
And you're from Aberdeen originally. You're coming back to Wales after 30 years away, 20 years with Honda, both in motorcycle business and cars, and now leaving that job, coming back to rugby. What was it that really attracted you to this role in particular?
Well, I think the key is that what we have here is, to me at least, much more than just a rugby business. For me, this club is something that's very much at the heart of a community, very much represents the spirit of that community, and in some ways, the spirit of a nation. So, for me, yes, it's a business that we need to operate, but as a contribution to the wider community, as a contribution to Wales, and as a contribution to youth in Wales particularly, that's something very, very special, and I don't think that sort of opportunity comes up very often.
And your recent role was a head of Honda in Europe in the motorcycle business. Obviously big business, fast, dynamic, I'd imagine very results driven. What will you be bringing from that role into the role here?
Well, I guess in my time with Honda, most of what I've done is either structuring or restructuring business units and providing a level of sales and marketing momentum to grow the business. Of course, a competitive commercial environment provides the same level of urgency that a sports environment does. So actually for the business, we need everyone in the business off the field to be as good as everyone in the business on the field. And I think it's a wonderful analogy, because in Honda I used to consistently use the race teams to demonstrate to the business side what pressure actually is, because you're performing on a public stage, you can't hide, your results are your results. Actually, we've got that in-house here. So I think what we need to do is to just support everyone in the business to be world-class in the same way that we want a rugby team that is world-class. And that's the way that we grow success.
And obviously, as a proud Welshman coming back home, I mean, you would have grown up with the Scarlets and what it means. I mean, looking at it now as a business and going forward in this modern day, this modern competitive sports era, what are the key focuses for you now in this role?
Well, I don't think today there's any business that's easy. I certainly don't think that any sports business is easy. And I don't actually see a clear model, because all sports businesses seem to be going through a high degree of change. But we've got a platform that is quite unique for us to work from. We've got a facility or a set of facilities that are quite unique in generating revenue. So what we've got to understand is, how do we make the most of our revenue opportunities by providing a fantastic customer experience on the days that we're playing at home, and how then do we use the rest of the facility to generate revenue on the days that we're not playing. And that, I think, is quite unique, and that's what gives us the chance to really have a secure and sustainable business. So
what you're saying, obviously 16 home games, it's a long season, but it's making the business work all year round.
Yeah,
and using these facilities to maximum.
There's 340 days when we're not playing at home. So how are we generating revenue then? That's the business angle, because clearly we need a secure and sustainable business in order to ensure that we're feeding the development of the players on the field.
And as far as you coming in, and I think you've been in the job about 10 days now, so it's very early days, but what are your impressions of the business and also the rugby side of the business as well, and how it's performing?
My impressions of the business are pretty much what I understood and pretty much what I expected. There are a huge amount of intensely committed and passionate people in the business and around the business. It's a relatively small business in many ways and a pretty small team in the business, but the extended team that are involved in the business success, from the supporters to the sponsors, to everybody involved, is just remarkable. So for me the key is being able to mobilise and anchor all of that momentum and all of that goodwill and all of that will and determination for the entire business to succeed in a clear direction with a clear pathway over a period of time.
And on a personal note, will you be living back down here in Carmarthenshire and bring your family down presumably quite soon?
Very soon, actually, yes. We're moving to Berryport right at the beginning of September. Just rented a place for 6 months to start with. The kids start school, I think, on the 2nd of September. And ironically, Carmarthenshire has always been a county that we've loved. I think a very special place. So we would have intended at some point to end up in Carmarthenshire anyway. We just now have the opportunity to come along earlier. So we have 6 months anchored in Berryport to understand where the whole family wants to be, and where provides the best access to off-road motorcycling and various other hobbies, and that's where we'll be anchored.
I'm just touching on that. Keen motorcyclist, probably no surprise, having been with Honda through that period of time. Big hobby of yours. Will we be seeing any famous riders coming down to Parker Scarlets, converting them into the Scarlets flag, do you think, at some point?
Well, there's a few that tell me that they're already tracking us now, right. But yeah, there's as well as the access to off-road motorcycle areas, which a lot of the guys do, even if they're road riders. So there's a lot of opportunity for them. There are quite a few keen golfers. So sort of names that you'd know is Leon Haslam. I think will probably pop down and play some golf. And I've told him that if he thinks he's fit, he needs to come and try training with some of the boys here. Jonathan Ray, who's a fantastic motocrosser, he's keen on coming down. And a couple of the motocross guys, Neil Prince, known as the Prince of Wales, who manages the World Motocross team, he'll be down, and I must remember to wind up a certain Kiwi by the name of Josh Coppins, because he needs to be here as well, I think.
Well, a lot to look forward to, Mark. Welcome anyway to the Scarlets. I'm sure our supporters will be seeing obviously a lot more of you at the start of the season, but look forward to speaking to you in the future as well.
Thank you.